Ready to dive into some really cool AI stuff today.
Let's do it.
We're going deep on how to make large language models.
LLMs.
Yeah, LLMs.
Uh,
How to make them think smarter, not just, throw more data at them.
like actually reason. It's a big deal.
Huge. In this paper, it's called Typethinker. Type thinking improves large language model reasoning. It's like the roadmap.
We'll unpack it all, don't worry.
So first things first, the paper, it kind of calls out this big problem with how LLMs work right now. They get stuck.
It's like imagine someone trying to solve every problem with the same tool, even when it's clearly not working.
Like trying to make soup with a spatula.
Exactly. But we as humans, we don't do that. We're always switching between different ways of thinking.
Right. Like sometimes we use logic, step by
Yeah.
step.
Deductive reasoning. That's the technical term. Like if A, then B, that kind of thing.
Then there's that whole pattern recognition thing.
Inductive reasoning. We see something happen a few times, we figure it'll probably happen again.
Weather predictions, right?
Exactly. Or like figuring out a friend's habits. Then there's that whole detective mode we go into sometimes.
Ooh, solving mysteries.
Well, it's more like finding the best explanation when we don't have all the facts. Abductive reasoning. Like, why is the traffic so bad today? Maybe an accident, maybe construction.
And then don't forget about analogies.
Yes.
Mhm.
Connecting things that seem totally different on the surface. Analogical reasoning. Powerful stuff.
So the paper's saying that each of these reasoning styles, they each have their own strengths. Like they're better at solving certain types of problems.
And that's what makes Typethinker so interesting. It's all about teaching LLMs to use these different thinking styles the right way.
So it's like giving them a whole toolbox instead of just that one
Spatula.
spatula. Exactly. So instead of just spitting out facts, they can actually reason through a problem using the best thinking style for the job.
It's like imagine an LLM trying to crack a logic puzzle, but also comparing it to, say, a dance partner swap at the same time.
Oh, what?
It's an example from the paper. Sounds strange, but it shows how we often use comparisons to understand things.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So they tested this Typethinker thing, right? Put it up against the usual LLMs.
They ran it through 4 different benchmarks,
Oh.
including logical reasoning problems and even some math stuff.
Did it work?
Typethinker was way more accurate, especially on the really tough problems that needed more than just, brute force calculation.
So it's not just mimicking how we think, it's actually getting better results. That's impressive. How much better are we talking?
In some cases, almost double the success rate compared to traditional models.
Wow, that's huge. But how do they measure that? I mean, how can you tell if an AI is actually thinking better?
They look at 2 main things. First, did Typethinker get more answers right? And yeah, it did. But then they also looked at how it got those answers.
So not just getting it right, but how it got there.
Exactly. They wanted to see how diverse its solutions were. Like, could it find multiple ways to solve the same problem?
Okay, so it's not just picking the right answer out of a hat. It's actually coming up with different approaches. That's wild.
And to make sure it wasn't just, getting lucky, they compared Typethinker to an LLM that was basically told to just try harder.
Like, just keep running the problem until something sticks.
Pretty much. And guess what?
Typethinker wins.
Typethinker wins, hands down. More diverse, more creative solutions every time.
So giving AI this ability to, use different types of reasoning, it's not just some fancy trick. It's actually making them better problem solvers.
Which is, the whole point.
That's exactly. But it makes you wonder, what about us? What can we learn from all this AI stuff? Besides the fact that it's really cool, of course.
That's what I love about this kind of research. It's not just about building smarter machines. It actually makes us think differently about how WE think.
Like we're learning from AI now. That's a trip.
In a way, yeah. It's like we've known about these different thinking styles, but seeing an AI use them effectively, it really drives home the point that diversity of thought is important for us too.
It's like, we always say think outside the box, but this is more like know what box you're in and have the right tools to get out of it.
Yes. And knowing when to use which tool. Adaptability. That's the key. Just like Typethinker.
So we should all aspire to be more like Typethinker. Multifaceted reasoning machines. I like it. But how'd they even teach it to do all this? Did it go to, AI school for reasoning or something?
Not exactly. Think of it more like an apprenticeship. They didn't program Typethinker with every single rule and strategy. Instead, they kind of let it learn on its own.
Oh, like trial and error.
Exactly. They gave Typethinker tons of problems to solve, along with examples of each reasoning type, and then let it loose.
So it's learning by doing, figuring out which thinking style works best in different situations.
Exactly. It's building its own internal rule book through experience.
That's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's a huge shift in AI. We're
Mhm.
moving away from hard coding everything and towards systems that can learn and adapt on their own.
It's like giving AI the freedom to, well, think for itself, which is exciting, but kinda,
And a little intimidating.
Yeah, maybe a little, but it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. And you know what's really exciting? This isn't just about making AI a tiny bit better. This has huge implications for the future of, well, everything.
I know, right? Problem solving, especially.
If we can create machines that are better at reasoning than we are, I mean, think about it. Climate change, disease, all these huge problems we're facing.
Yeah. Finding new solutions, better solutions, solutions we haven't even thought of yet. That's the potential here.
Okay, I'm with you. This is all really exciting stuff, but we got to be real for a sec.
Right.
This research, it's just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Definitely. We've been talking about these 4 types of reasoning: deductive, inductive, abductive, and analogical. But who's to say there aren't others out there?
Oh, you're blowing my mind here. You're saying there might be other ways of thinking that we haven't even discovered yet.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And if we can find them, who knows what we could achieve?
It's like we're looking through a keyhole right now. Just a glimpse of what might be possible.
And it's not just about the AI, you know? It makes you think, what other ways of thinking are we missing out on as humans? Are there whole other dimensions of reasoning that we haven't even tapped into yet?
That is a mind-blowing thought. Like, if AI can already learn to think in these complex ways, who's to say what the future holds? And what's really got me thinking is this idea that maybe AI won't just be a tool, but a collaborator. Like, we could work together to solve problems in ways we never could alone.
Imagine that. AI not only helping us solve the problems we already have,
Yeah.
but also helping us see problems in completely new ways. Problems we didn't even know we had.
We've come a long way from those early chatbots, haven't we? I mean, we're talking about AI that could potentially outthink us, in some ways at least.
It definitely makes you appreciate the power of a good thinker, right?
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think we've given everyone a lot to ponder today. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive for this incredible look at AI, reasoning, and the amazing possibilities of thinking, well, maybe a little bit like a machine.
Until next time, keep those minds open and curious.